interesting because so far as I know, the print version has not yet been sent out. Therefore, you got a couple of options actually, and in the notes there, I posted a link, and if you click on that link or just copy that whole web address and just put it in your browser and click enter, it will go, and it will take you to where you can actually, if you scroll down, you can actually see the daily readings. It's not the whole thing. It doesn't include the quotes and the affirmations. It's just the bare reading itself. But you can get the actual reading itself. It doesn't say who it's by, Reverend Joanne McFadden. It doesn't say anything like that. But you can at least get the stripped down version of the readings if you go there. And if I can come back to where I was before, which is here. Reverend Joanne's called this Listen for Divine Guidance. I don't know if I'm being picky, but I do have comments on today's readings because my interpretation of this is different than hers. I'm not saying hers is wrong and mine's right. I got mine from reading Ernest Holmes. She's read Ernest Holmes probably a lot more than I have. But anyway, so I got my interpretation from Ernest Holmes. So it's a little bit different than what she says. But the bottom line is good guidance. Listen for divine guidance. That's always good advice, right? Well, I often don't say, my name is David Dewhurst. I'm a minister. Sometimes we go by Reverend, sometimes we don't. From Creative Life Spiritual Center, I'm an ordained minister of Centers for Spiritual Living, which is like a 7-8 year ordeal to actually become a minister. So I don't know, ordeal is the right word. I love this studying, actually. The first quote is from somebody I know. The book, actually, this book by this lady, Florence Scovel Shinn. She was one of the great New Thought writers in the early part of the 20th century. I was actually reading this book when I was going to California to actually take my panels to become a practitioner. So that's why I remember this book very well. And I also remember that we were on the freeway in California. You know what it can be like there. It can be really bad. And there was a bunch of us practitioners to be in there, and we thought we were going to be late. So what we did was we all did spiritual mind treatment, and I kid you not, the traffic just parted. I mean, it just thinned out, and we were there in plenty of time. So that's a perfect example of a practical use of just using spiritual mind treatment, or if you like, affirmative prayer. Anyway, from Florence Scovel Shinn in The Game of Life and How to Play It, and it's on page 65, she says, intuition is a spirit, good grief. Intuition is a spiritual faculty and does not explain but simply points the way. Intuition is a spiritual faculty that doesn't explain but simply points the way. And Ernest Holmes says, intuition is God in us, revealing to us the realities of being. And just as instinct guides the animal, so would intuition guide us, if we would allow it to do so. And that last part is really important. I do have comments today, so my talk might be a little bit longer than usual. And that's from Science of Mind textbook, and it's on page 342, paragraph 2. I've heard this story before, and it's a cute one. Researchers from the Monterey Bay Aquarium were surprised to find thousands of pearl octopuses, normally solitary creatures, huddled together on the ocean floor of the coast of Central California. They discovered that what attracted the octopuses was the heat seeping up from an extinct underwater volcano. I'm not sure how extinct volcanoes are, especially if they're giving off heat. But anyway, the point is there was heat coming up from the seabed, which attracted the octopuses to go in there. She goes on to say, it seemed like a dead state. The volcano provided, in its seemingly dead state, the volcano provided the heat that allowed the octopuses to hatch their eggs in 21 months rather than the 4 years or more it normally takes during the I am getting tongue-tied today, aren't I? Okay, so it takes 24 months normally for the eggs to hatch. And of course, during this time, the eggs are vulnerable to predators. And the mama octopuses laid their precious eggs on the rocks, being warmed by the heat coming up from the extinct volcano. The gathered octopuses form what scientists called an octopus garden, a previously unknown deep-sea phenomenon. So in other words, the eggs hatched a lot faster, demonstrating the truth that whatever we need is always provided. The octopuses were instinctively led to the heat source, something I call octopus intuition. I wouldn't have used that, but anyway. We too have been gifted with a keen intuition that guides us every time we open ourselves up to receive its wisdom. For the octopuses, this was easy, as they're devoid of any... Okay, I also take exception to this. She says, for the octopuses, this was easy, as they're devoid of any cultural or societal conditioning that discounts listening to that still small voice within it as it pours out its wisdom eternally. We don't know that for sure. I don't know how much we've studied the octopus, but I don't know if they're societal or not. Whatever answers we need are available through the grace of the omniscient divine intelligence within us. Okay, that last part, 100% true. However, according to Holmes, there's a difference between psychic knowledge and intuition. Psychic knowledge is from the group human subconscious, and intuition is directly from the divine. And I think instinct is different again. I think instinct is something that's built into all creatures on the planet. We've lost a lot of ours because, as she rightly says, societal conditioning has done that. As we move more into cities and away from the land, we've lost a lot of our basic instincts. We can't track like people who are really close to the land can. We just can't do it. Is it within us to do it? Yes, it is, but we have lost that ability. Another thing that we've lost by going from what you might call just people living close to the earth to living in cities is that if we'd done that, we developed writing. Writing has got a lot going for it. It helps us to record history, for instance. It's easier to teach in some respects, but we've lost a lot. We've lost that phenomenal memory that human beings had when they would recite these huge epic poems, such as Gilgamesh in the Near East there. And coming into Europe, Homer's tales. Homer's tales started off as oral tales. We think actually in the Christian scriptures, what used to be called the New Testament, we think that there was an oral tradition that was beneath the written ones of Mark, Matthew, and Luke especially. John is a different story. The Gospel of John's a different story. But the point she's making is this, that when we quiet our minds and we allow ourselves to open up to allowing divine guidance to come in, whatever you want to call it intuition, call it divine guidance, call it whatever you want, it will come, because there is always that still small voice. And this is beyond instinct, in my opinion. Instinct is something that is built into us as human beings to survive on the planet. And I think intuition is knowledge that is coming from the divine, which sometimes helps human beings to advance in leaps and bounds. So I think there's a difference, just like Ernest Holmes made a difference between psychic knowledge or psychic and insight, psychic insight and intuition. I make a distinction between instinct and intuition. I think intuition is when we quieten down and listen. The octopus, going back to something completely different, the octopus is a very intelligent creature. It's an incredibly intelligent creature. So we don't know if the octopus is also in tune with the divine or not. And if it actually was intuition that guided them to these warm places where they could hatch their eggs a lot more quickly, or it was instinct. I mean, since it's potentially a natural phenomenon. It could have been either, really. But the bottom line is, point she's really trying to make is this, that when we will be still and when we will listen, then we will get guidance. One way that we can do this is by visioning. Visioning is different from visualization, as a lot of you know. Visualization means that you vividly picture in your mind with feeling what it is that you want, whether it be a house, whether it be break an athletic record or whatever it is. You keep picturing that over and over again. That is visualization, and it's good and it works. Visioning is different. It's when you allow the divine to come in and give you guidance on particular subjects. And we actually have a visioning class that's going to start in April, and it's going to be run by two of our practitioners. It's going to be run by, I think it's two of our practitioners. It's going to be run by Marissa Mijal for sure, and somebody else. I've forgotten who it is now, and I apologize. I'll remember by tomorrow. Interestingly, this morning I was listening to, no, this afternoon, I got to the gym late because I had a busy day. And I was listening to Reverend Lisa. I only managed to listen to parts of it. And she was talking about growing up, and I actually didn't realize they didn't have much money. And yeah, I could say the same thing. I didn't realize that we didn't have much money at first. What I realized was I didn't have a father figure because my dad died when I was 4. But the thing is, all these things are experiences that we can actually use to help us to become better people in the future. So when we go from grumbling about what happened in the past to accepting the past as a teaching lesson, that's also another path on this spiritual journey. But today, the lesson is pretty simple. It's take time to listen and allow divine guidance to come in. And I recommend to everybody to look out for this class that's coming up, because it's a really cool class. I've helped teach it a bunch of times. I got it from our late, dear, departed Reverend Marcia Lyman, with whom I taught a lot of classes. And when she passed away, it was pretty traumatic. However, bottom line is, visioning class is coming up. It is a good class, and I do highly recommend it. And it is right along the lines of the lesson that we've had here today. So appreciate everybody watching. Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow morning, so tune into her. She always has something good to say. She always has something new to offer, besides the reading, which of course is also new each day. So please tune into her. And the affirmation is just kind of what I was saying. When I need guidance, I become still. I clear my mind and I allow myself to hear my own inner wisdom. When I need guidance, I become still, clear my mind, and allow myself to hear my own inner wisdom. So, in a nutshell, be still and know that I am God comes directly from the Bible, and the intuition, the knowledge will come into you that you need. So, until next time, take care, all is well, and yeah, have a good evening, good day, whenever you watch this, doesn't matter. So, namaste.